Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I will be talking about a topic that somewhat circulates out of the rumor or leak mill, the Nintendo Switch Pro. But before we hop into today's video, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy what I do here on this channel. Especially if you keep ending up here in my videos, why not drop that sub? I appreciate it. But I for one am pretty interested in this super rumored Switch Pro that's supposed to be coming. And so far, it seems like it may be coming around next year in 2021, which really isn't that far away. The main features I've heard about this is a mini LED screen and the Switch Pro being able to output the 4K, which I personally think is kinda dumb because I would just want straight up performance boost on games on the Switch platform to be the priority rather than the resolution. But this doesn't really mean that there isn't going to be performance increase because again, these are just rumors. But what I really wanted to talk about was how a Switch Pro could and probably will benefit games like Smash Ultimate heavily. If you guys remember back to the 3DS when the horribly named system, the new 3DS came out, which was basically a 3DS Pro. The main benefits of having that system was the C-Stick, the increased load times, and of course it had exclusive games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. I don't think the Switch Pro will have any exclusive games, but I could see something like that happening. Pro versions of games. On the PS4 Pro, games would have a Pro upgrade specific feature where you could upgrade things like the frame rate or resolution and overall how the game runs in general. If this feature existed for the Switch Pro, it would 100% increase performance. Smash Ultimate stages like Fountain of Dreams have frame rate issues, and that's the main reason it didn't even get picked for tournaments, outside of it being similar to Battlefield. But that's just something small. Thinking even bigger, let's talk about Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi card on Switch isn't terrible, but it's not the greatest in the world. It's certainly worse than the PS4's Wi-Fi card, or at least that's how it feels. The Switch Pro could 100% have a better Wi-Fi card, and most players in Smash Ultimate use Wi-Fi because it's a portable console. If the Pro takes off and people still use Wi-Fi on it, it could still increase performance in matches. But that's not all. Another feature they could add is a direct Ethernet port instead of having to buy an adapter. A lot of people still haven't bought a Nintendo Switch Ethernet adapter, which contributes to the online for Smash being super bad, because most of the player base is using inconsistent Wi-Fi. So having that Ethernet port added will benefit the player base greatly if again the Switch Pro actually takes off. Now that we got all the Wi-Fi stuff out of the way, let's talk about the performance changes and how they could benefit us greatly with the game. If Sakurai and his team see the potential for the Switch Pro and want to utilize it in some way, I can see it happening. Mainly in tweaking how the game works with more powerful hardware. If you watch some of my videos, you should know where this is going. Smash Ultimate is a graphically and good looking game, and the downside for this, and especially fighting games in general, is that this stuff actually affects how the game feels. Smash Ultimate has about 6 to 7.5 frames of delay between you pressing a button and an action coming out. This is all before things such as TV or monitor lag, and of course if you're playing online lag. But if you want to know more about that, I suggest checking out this video on why Smash Ultimate Online is terrible after you watch this video, of course. But having a more powerful Switch could actually eliminate the frames natively on the game. That is of course if Sakurai and his team decide to support a boost mode if it were to exist on a Nintendo Switch Pro. Now I actually think this would cause a lot of trouble between playing on Switch versus Switch Lite and a Switch Pro, where the person has way less input delay on the Switch Pro compared to the other systems. But I actually have a solution for this. If they aren't able to bring down the frame input for the base Switch version to match the Switch Pro, and if they were to do it, they'd have to bring down the graphical fidelity of the game. But to actually get around that, what they can do is find a common ground between the two Switches, so that way they don't have to bring down the graphic fidelity really all that much for the base version of the Nintendo Switch. For an example, say their common ground is 2.5 frames. This way, it would be the middle ground for both versions of the console, while the Switch Pro would probably be able to keep its fidelity coming down in terms of frame rate. I think this would just work fine. Instead of being at 7.5 frames, we could just have 5 frames of input delay, and then when playing online, the minimum amount of lag we would have would be at 9 frames, which is 100% better than what we deal with now. What we're dealing with now is probably around 12 at minimum. This would closely match a lot of other fighting games. For example, Guilty Gear Rev 2 has 4 frames of input delay on the PlayStation 4. And when you play online, it's common to see 4 to 5 frames of delay, which racks up to 9 frames of delay and more. I think the Switch Pro would be a really great incentive to get this in motion. It also helps with the fact that Sakurai is now interested in trying to improve the online, specifically due to Tekken 7's online changes. But ultimately, the thing that would save this online the most would be rollback netcode. But that is a very large and probable factor that would occur in this game's lifetime. If you want to play a Smash game with great online, I suggest playing Project Slippy for Melee, which adds rollback netcode and is one of the best fighting game online experiences I've ever had. I think by the time the Pro comes out, maybe there could be a new version of the game called Smash Bros. Deluxe or something like that, and that includes these several enhanced features for the Switch Pro version. That would also probably be a free update, and something that can include all of the DLC in one pack. I think that would be a really cool thing, and I think Ultimate deserves as much support as possible. Sakurai has done an amazing job with the game and continues to do so with DLC, but I think this game deserves some quality of life changes along the way. It would be a shame to leave this game behind in a state it is mostly in with the online and the gameplay roadblocks. But all in all, if the Switch Pro doesn't even provide these benefits, I'll still hold out for some of these online improvements. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and it doesn't hurt to mention that I have something really cool planned for you guys that you'll be able to get your hands on pretty soon. But with that, I'll see you in the next one.